What's up everyone, back with another Spiral Abyss guide. This one is a bit more odd and niche, but I found it pretty useful. And hopefully by sharing this information, I might be able to reach out to some players and hopefully make their experience in the dreadful Spiral Abyss Floor 11 slightly better. This video will cover how to get rid of the Engulfing Storm effect that everyone hates in Floor 11. First, I'll explain the logistics of cleansing Engulfing Storm by demonstrating it in Floor 11, Chamber 1, and then I'll provide a showcase of me utilizing this strategy in Floor 11, Chamber 2. If you couldn't guess from the title, Xinyan and Bennett are the ones that will be providing this advantage of cleansing Engulfing Storm from your characters. While these characters cannot be fully considered free to play, both are only 4-star characters, and with Xinyan on the current Xiao banner and Bennett coming up on the Kaching banner later this month, hopefully these units can be a solution for a good portion of players, no matter if you're pay to win, free to play, or just a casual spender. Anyways, enough talking. Timestamps are in the description if you want to skip to the gameplay, but I highly recommend sticking around for my explanation first, just so you're not confused when you actually see the gameplay. Ayo, quick announcement before we get into the video. I just want to say thank you guys for 2k subs. The support on most of my stuff has been overwhelmingly positive so far, and I really do appreciate it. I'm starting to think about how to approach creating a community Discord, since I've been asked to set one up by several people, but unfortunately that will take a while before the ball gets rolling, so in the meantime I've created a Twitter for this channel. If you do want to get in touch with me and maybe shoot ideas for a Discord or just chat in general, Twitter is definitely the easiest way to do so. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing with the Twitter account, but you can probably expect channel updates and also general Genshin Impact news for starters. So anyways, follow your boy at Meowray on Twitter, just like the YouTube channel, and you could be my first follower since I made this account literally like 10 minutes before recording this clip. Now you're probably wondering why Xinyan and Bennett? Well, these two characters have what the game likes to call a pyro infusion. This is the core mechanic that we're going to be using, and basically what it means is that Xinyan and Bennett can apply the pyro element to your characters. I want to bring your attention to this text right here in Xinyan's elemental ability description. It says, "The shield has the following special properties. When unleashed, it infuses Xinyan with pyro." This itself is pretty self-explanatory, but what you may not know is that if you switch to a different character with Xinyan's shield active, they will also be infused with pyro. Pay attention to my health bar at the bottom of the screen and watch what happens when I switch characters. Pretty cool, huh? What you just saw was that we can briefly apply pyro to any character in our party. It might seem pretty minor, but we're actually going to do some pretty neat stuff with this here in a second. Bennett also does the exact same thing with his elemental burst. If you read the description of his burst and go to the last bullet point, it also says it imbues characters with pyro. While Bennett does have to have his burst up to do the same thing as Xinyan, he has a very low cooldown on his elemental ability and you can generate energy pretty quickly. Not to mention, you normally build Bennett with a lot of energy recharge too. Still though, because he does need his burst in a chamber that constantly drains energy, you have to play your cards correctly. I think it's a little harder to get the same results as Xinyan, but don't get too discouraged though. With a little bit of learning, setup, and observation, you can utilize Bennett just as effectively as Xinyan. So now that we know about Xinyan and Bennett's pyro infusion, I'm going to get into how this interacts with Engulfing Storm. First things first, we need to learn exactly what Engulfing Storm does. What the Leyline Disorder does is it sends an electro surge through the floor to apply the electro element onto your characters. When this electro element is on you, your stored energy is periodically drained with an interval of about 2 to 3 seconds per tick. If you don't know what the electro surge looks like, if I remember to edit things properly, there should be a short clip on screen right now that shows what it looks like in the chamber. As long as you don't have this electro element on your characters, you gain energy at your normal rate. I'm sure you already know what I'm getting at, but the premise of why Xinyan and Bennett can actually be really useful is that we're cleansing the electro element by abusing the fact that every time you switch, pyro is applied no matter how many times it's already been applied. Watch closely at what I'm about to do. As I start up this chamber, you're going to notice that Engulfing Storm is applied almost immediately. Once I see that wave of electro come out, I instantly switch to Xinyan and pop her ability for the shield and begin switching between two characters rapidly. Every time I switch, an overloaded reaction occurs. What is happening is I keep creating weak overloaded reactions with Xinyan's shield until the electro element is consumed completely from Xinyan and Zhongli. This gets rid of the electro that constitutes Engulfing Storm, and this is what we want. Don't worry, this overloaded reaction doesn't actually do any damage to you. In order to completely do away with the electro, you need to trigger 2 separate overloaded reactions per character using Xinyan's shield. If Xinyan is your main DPS, switch between her and a support unit with an impactful burst that you want to use. For me, I definitely want to choose Zhongli and Xinyan out of the 4 in this team, because GeoMC and Faisal provide good enough support without their burst, so there's no point in wasting time cleansing all 4 party members. Now what I do is rotate between Xinyan and another character, making sure to use the other character's elemental ability before switching back to Xinyan. This ensures that I'm not just wasting time idling as I switch, but I'm getting important abilities out. In my case, a Zhongli Pillar or a Zhongli Meteor. Once the electro is cleansed off of the 2 units you chose, you just need to switch back to your main DPS and start to go to town on the enemies. It's pretty simple once you have it down. I'll stop talking for the rest of the gameplay so you can observe, then I'll do the same floor but this time with Bennett. We're still in floor 11, chamber 1, but this time with a different team that includes Bennett. It's the same premise as Xinyan, but with a little different execution. For starters, what I'm doing once I see the wave of electro across the floor is casting Bennett's burst immediately before the first tick of energy drain hits. Once the burst is down, this is where it gets slightly different compared to Xinyan. Watch the health bars on the right side of the screen. I simply use each character's abilities on the field until I see the electro element is gone, then I switch to the next character. Bennett's burst will constantly apply pyro, so instead of switching back and forth, you can simply switch to a character, wait until they're cleansed, and then move on to the next character. Bennett's burst allows you to cleanse the whole party quicker than Xinyan can, because Xinyan is limited by the character switching cooldown. The downside of Bennett is that his cleanse is his elemental burst, meaning if you don't manage and generate enough energy, you lose control and can't counter the Engulfing Storm without your elemental burst up. All in all, both have their benefits and trade-offs. Because of this, after you cleanse the characters you want to remove electro from, you need to start generating energy with Bennett. The premise is to always have his burst ready when you see the wave surge across the floor, and there is a 30-second interval between each Engulfing Storm wave, with the first wave in a chamber in the first half hitting at the 9:57 mark. This is the slight problem Bennett has compared to Xinyan, as I mentioned before, but with a little bit of practice and energy management, you can still get the same effects with Bennett as you can with Xinyan. That's about everything you need to know regarding how to cleanse the Engulfing Storm debuff with Xinyan and Bennett, so I'll let this run play out yet again, and then we'll move on to another demonstration, but this time in everyone's favorite chamber, 11-2. A lot of people struggle with 11-2, so here's just a visual representation of how I clear 11-2, including this strategy. I'll give my thought process as I play, and hopefully by laying out what I'm thinking in my mind, you guys will understand how to approach this chamber a little better. Anyways, first things first, I immediately take GeoMC and place a rock in front of the 2 archer Helitrils that spawn to block some of their arrows. After that, it's a matter of breaking the shields and killing the Helitrils with the shields. One thing that's really neat with cleansing is that as you switch, you can knock back enemies from the monolith with the overloaded reaction that is created. Sidetracking just a little bit, in some other full chamber 11-2 guides made by some wonderful content creators that you guys might know, they will tell you to target the Pyro Archer Helitril first, and let me tell you that is certainly the correct move if you run a Nemo MC on this half. But because I am running a Geo MC comp, I decided to block the archers off with a rock and just focus down the Rock Shield Helitrils first, which will always target the monolith initially. Once all the small Rock Shield guys are done, I move on to the Blazing Axe Metatril that spawns. After that, I pick the archers off, doing my best to keep at least one of the Torch Helitrils alive to prevent the Wooden Shield Metatril from spawning as always. I missed it by a fraction of a second, but the idea was to knock back the Helitrils by switching and triggering Overloaded before they shot their volley of arrows. The Overloaded reaction from the shield and the Engulfing Storm effect actually has a deceptively long range, and if you're clever, you can utilize this pretty well. Since it is a monolith challenge and there is no time limit, with this last Wooden Shield Metatril, I decide to take my time. When Engulfing Storm hits, I switch between Xinyan, Zhongli, and GeoMC to cleanse them all because I want as many bursts up as possible for the next chamber. To start off the second half, I group the enemies together with Jean, then once I see the Electro Surge, I immediately pop Bennett's Burst and start cleansing my characters. I try to eliminate the Treasure Hoarders as fast as possible, but I actually end up thinking both were dead when one actually still lived. It doesn't make much of a difference though. Your main goal with this first wave is to just stop the Susla Mage from doing any of her shenanigans to the best of your ability. When the second wave spawns, I juggle between the Treasure Hoarders with the Fist and the Hammer, all while trying to remember to cleanse myself with Bennett's Burst again. Once those two guys are out of the way, the rest of the chamber is smooth sailing, and you should take your time ensuring that you get as many bursts up as possible before moving on to 11-3. As you can see, we end up with 79% as our final health on the monolith, which is a pretty decent clear. Anyways, that wraps it up for the Spiral Abyss guide. Hopefully you guys learned something new, or I inspired you to try a new team comp in Abyss using Bennett or Xinyan. If you did get something out of this, be sure to support both the video and the channel. Oh yeah, don't forget to follow the Twitter too. I gotta plug that because we gotta get the audience there up to at least a fraction of the size of this YouTube channel. Other than that, it's the same as always. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.